What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. It is the 19th of August, and here we are sitting at about $113.3 thousand. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's just jump into it. Okay, so here we are with about 6 hours left in the day. Down 2.5% on this lovely Tuesday afternoon. Looking like we are either at the low or we're very, very near the low. I wouldn't be surprised if this low here at 113.1K, if that was it, my friends. I really wouldn't be surprised at all. You know, we go here, we look at the Bitcoin liquidation levels over the past 30 days. And I mean, we're right up against the wall here with all these long liquidations. It's very possible we could go down, you know, flush down to 111K or even below there. But I don't know if we do, personally. I think there's so many shorts piled on, and this 30-day representation doesn't represent it properly. We look at the last day, you guys, there's been $3 billion in shorts piled on in the past 24 hours, which is a lot. Over the past 3 days, we've had like $1.5 billion piled on over the past 24-hour period. So this is like double what we've seen for a 24-hour period over the past 3 days. I think that could be enough to find some significance and bounce here. With that being said, you know, there is a little bit of longs piled on as well. We are longing as we're going down, and that typically does add fuel to the fire. And there's about just under $1 billion worth of longs to be liquidated right there at about 112K. So it is possible that we can go lower. We're going to look at some short-term stuff and go over that as well. I want to look at the 7-day time frame and just see where we're at with that. I know the shorts have overtaken everything. I mean, we're right up against the wall here. Just because we're up against the wall doesn't mean that we have to go through it. You know, typically whenever you're at these liquidation levels, they start to clear out and people are closing their longs, which means they're selling, right? They have to sell back. Just like whenever you close a short, you have to buy back in. These guys have to sell back, so that does add to the selling pressure. Might we flush to 112K? We could. It's possible, but again, I'm kind of under the impression that this is the low. I really do think it was. We'll start off with this before we get into the 1 hour time frame. If we look at this low here from back on August 3rd to the high right here, you know, the 886 is at 113.2K. We went just $100 shy of that. And typically, not always, but man, I feel like I'm on repeat. You guys remember this? Do you remember this when we were at the top? Hold on, let's go over this right now. Ready? I was like, typically, not always, but typically you don't really push past the 886 without having some kind of retracement back, at least to the golden ratio, if not likely the 382 or even lower, right? This is from the up down, okay? And when we were up here, I was calling for the 382. Now, inevitably, we went there. We even went lower, but we went to the golden ratio, and that is the minimum target. I remember saying that on that video. That is the minimum target, right? We continue to push through, and that was a bit of a fake out. Now we're all the way down here. This fib, it's not that it has no relevance now, but I think that it has less relevance than this fib does, right? Our low to high, because we're retracing this move. Now, typically, again, just like we were up at this high here, I'm going to say the same thing at this low. Typically, and when I say typically, most of the time I mean like over half the time, right? Most of the time. But this time I mean like 80 to 90% of the time. Typically, you do not just push through this level, right? You found no support at the golden ratio. You just pushed right through to the 886. Typically, you don't keep going, okay? The odds of us going below 112K right now or even down there are pretty small. Like less than 20%, okay? The odds of that happening are very small, at least right now. We could go down there, but what we'd have to see first is some kind of retracement back to the golden ratio, I think, right? If not, some kind of dilly-dallying between the 786, 886. If we do this, okay, maybe we do go lower. But I would think something like what we saw here, where we came all the way back down to the relative golden ratio. It doesn't look like the golden ratio here, but from the high to low, you remember that. If not, just replay that part of the video. I don't want to redraw the fib. So at least something that's back up to 116.5K. We're at 113.3K now. So that would essentially give us the opportunity to engulf this whole damn day. And it doesn't have to happen in one day. You know, if tomorrow doesn't close up there, if the next day doesn't close up there, if the day after that doesn't close up there, it doesn't matter. As long as we're making our way up there and we get a close above the golden ratio, if we close above the golden ratio, I find that very validating to the idea that this is the low. If we come up here and then we reject, that could be validating to the idea that we go lower. As whenever we came up here and we found support at the golden ratio, we went higher, right? So even if we do have lower to go, even if this isn't the low, and even if that's not the low either, I think that we have a little bit of volatility coming our way. And I know that shouldn't be expected. We haven't been volatile at all throughout this range, right? But beyond all that, if we look back in time, right, Bitcoin has done this where you shake out, you get your low, and then boom, then you rally, right? even here on the small term, you shook out, you went below your breakout point, and then you went higher. Here, you shook out, you went down, and then you went up higher, right? These are smaller term consolidation phases than what we're dealing with, so we're getting a bigger shakeout here. You know, same thing here. You looked like you were breaking out of your downtrend, and you were, but then you came back down, got a little bit lower, and then boom, then you went higher, right? Would this be the lowest daily close that we've had? No, it wouldn't be, but still. It's a little bit more tame of a shakeout relative to some of these consolidation phases that we've seen, actually. Maybe not in percentage form, but in relevance to the range itself, to the price action that we've seen. But I digress. Looking at this on the 1 hour time frame, I want to say, in case it's not clear, this video I am calling for the low. I think that we have found our low, my friends. I think that this is it right here, and we're waiting for validation. Okay, we are waiting for validation. I don't know if I've been directly explicit with saying that, so I just want to say it out loud. Yes, I think this is the low. If it's not the low, we're super freaking close, man. So much so that, I mean, what? We go lower, how much of a percentage off would I be? 1%, 1.1%. Okay, screw me, man. I guess I was wrong. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal. No, I think, especially on an overall, how much of a percentage move is this so far? Overall, a 9% move. Yeah, I'm getting 90% of it. That's an A. I'm okay with that, man. I think this is the low. I'm very confident that this is the low. I'm not just saying it for safe regards and being like, even if we go down 1%, I'm still, most of the way there. No, I think this is the low. But let's look at the 1 hour time frame and validate that again. Getting above 116.6K, let's say 116.6K on a daily closing basis. You can't just get above there. You can't just move above there. You have to close a day above 116.6K. If we can do that on a daily close, this is the low. There's no doubt about it. Anybody saying otherwise is just, well, they are coping. I think James Wynn's going to be right on this, or maybe not. Right? Capo was saying that we go lower. James Wynn was saying that we go higher. Well, he was wrong, so we did go lower. But Capo, I think, is thinking we're going to go below this low. I think he's thinking we're going even down to 100K or lower. And I don't think it's going to happen. Oh, before we get into the short-term stuff, you guys, I keep on dilly-dallying here, but let's do this, all right? A lot of people, and I actually responded to somebody about this in the comments. Shout out to whoever you are. Hope you didn't take it as like a snide comment. It's just as a matter of fact comment is what it is. But someone was commenting, and a lot of people actually comment on the fact that the Bitcoin futures, there's a gap down at 92K, or there's a gap down at whatever level, and that we have to fill the gap because we fill all gaps. We don't fill all gaps, actually. That's not true. And I'm not going to go over the current gap, right? Let's see, where's the current gap? What's the most relevant gap that we have here? All the way down here, right? Right there. There's a gap right there at 92K. I'm not going to go over that gap. Okay, I'm going to go over the gaps from before, right? There's a gap right here. If you can't see it, there is a gap right here. Now, this looks like a gap, but if you notice, the day closed right here, and then the next day opened. We did not fill that gap. This is where the day closed. We did not, come on now, right there. This is where the day closed. We did not fill that gap. There's still a little bit, and the low went pretty damn close, but there's still a little bit of a gap there at 67K, right? There's a gap here, same thing, right? You can see the gap there. We closed here, but we opened here. You wicked down a little bit, but you didn't fill that gap, right? We no more filled that gap than we did fill this gap, right? It's like you gapped up here. Well, I guess we did fill that gap. What gap am I thinking of? What is it over here? Yeah, we didn't fill this gap, right? We wicked down into it, but we didn't fill it completely. It's the same thing here. If you're like, well, we wicked, it's close enough. Well, then, okay, well, we wicked, it's close enough. And I think it is close enough. I don't think that we need to fill that gap at all. There's so many gaps, you guys. I went through and I listed like 10 gaps in response to this one person's comment. There's a gap there that didn't get filled completely. There's a gap down here that didn't get filled completely, down at 39K. There's lower gaps. Not all gaps get filled. I'm going to make a video on that, actually. I don't want to go into this for too much time, but, let's get into the short-term stuff. Just in case anybody's wondering if we're going to go lower because of the CME gaps, the gap boys get the loudest when we're at the lows, okay? And it can seem like some kind of prophecy that's meant to be, but it's not. It's not. It's actually a trap. It's a trap. We've got lower levels of volume as we're coming down. In fact, this level here is starting to grow in volume, and it's only because we've probably found the bottom. If we're looking at this here, I don't know if you guys can hear that, if it's like echoing. Let me see. It might be that bottle. I had a bottle right there, and I feel like my voice is echoing into the bottle. Let me see. Woo! Yeah, it's gone now. I don't know if you guys heard that throughout the video, but it's gone now. If you did, I heard it, but the mic's on the other side, so it shouldn't really affect it. Anyways, 113.4K now. Looking at the RSI, bearish as hell on the RSI, but you are in an area that you like to bounce. Okay, so there's that. Stochastics are bearish as well, but you could come up here as soon as you get up here. I think that coming up above about 114.3K, that'll validate this as a relative low, and we should be moving up higher, hopefully to that 116K area. If not, maybe we go a little lower first, and then we come up. Bullish divergence on the MACD with the oscillators here. No bullish divergence on the histogram. All these indicators do suggest that we go lower, but oftentimes they suggest we go lower even when we're at the low itself, right? You don't really, I would say things look the worst when they're at their low. So of course the indicators aren't going to look good. This is a bit of a preemptive call based on the 1 hour time frame, but I think it's a very appropriate call based on the daily time frame and the Fibonacci retracement tool that we were looking at there with the 886. It's a very deep retracement all the way down. Again, I can't stress how incredibly unlikely, maybe if we were dealing with a random meme coin, low cap altcoin, low liquidity, we could push through the 886, but it's incredibly unlikely that we just push through this it's incredibly unlikely that we push through this without at least coming back to the golden ratio. And in fact, the more likely outcome would be that we go from here all the way to the 382. And if we come back, we find support on the golden ratio, there's no doubt in my mind that that's the low, okay? It's actually very common to go from your 886 to your 382 or your 0.5, somewhere in this area. Whenever you see these deep retracements, just subtle moves like this, sudden moves like this. If we're looking at this on a sudden is the more appropriate word, not subtle. Looking at this on a 4 hour time frame, we do have bullish divergence on the MACD. This is exactly what we were calling for a couple days ago. Lower lows, lower highs, right? Downtrend every time you have a down, not every time, but typically with a downtrend in the RSI, you finish it off with bullish divergence in the oversold zone, which I think we have that now. If we're looking at this on the stochastics, we are pretty damn bearish on the stochastics as well, but if we come up a little bit, that cross out of the oversold zone and into the band can promote readings up into the overbought zone, and that should push us higher. Again, it's always darkest just before the dawn. We do have a couple hours left in this 4 hour candle. If we can come up and close the screen, I think the MACD serves to give us a decay in bearish momentum, which would be nice to see. We do have bullish divergence overall on the oscillators, or no, we don't. But no bullish divergence actually on the MACD. The stochastics and the MACD, in all fairness, are calling for lower prices. So I really am setting myself up for failure here, calling for this to be the low. It is a bold call, and I'm more than willing to change that. I'm more than willing to pivot that. But first, I want to see how we react with 116.5, 116.6K. If we get up there and we have a harsh rejection, before we're ever even back at these levels, I will say, okay, looks like we are going lower. So we have a little flexibility here. I heavily doubt that even if this isn't the low, that we just push through right now. Okay, there's too many shorts. We're going to clear them out, and that's just not typically how things work. Things are volatile. We've been very volatile throughout this range. Do you think it's going to change now? To the upside, to the downside, we've been very volatile. And in fact, this is the most kind of consistent move down that we've had throughout this whole move. You don't think that we're going to see a little bit of a reverberation back to the upside? I think that we will. I'm kind of curious, actually. Let's see. What is the Crypto Fear and Greed Index saying on the CoinMarketCap chart, or CoinMarketCap website here? It's at a 53. That's not bad. I wonder what it'll be after today. I'm wondering what people are saying about crypto. 15 minutes late. Come on, Zelensky. It's okay. Donald Trump likes to keep people waiting sometimes, so maybe he's just throwing back the favor. I did not watch the I want to call it an interview, but the meeting. I didn't watch the meeting yesterday. I don't know if I'm sure a lot of people did, but I didn't watch it. I think things went well from what I heard, but I just want to look at x.com here and see if there's any. Let's just see. Bitcoin. Let's just type that in. Maybe I should type in crypto, but Bitcoin top. Let's do latest. Okay. This is concerning and scary. Decentralization was and is Bitcoin's core promise. Now with two pools controlling 51%. Well, yeah, I think so. I think but pools, they're a centralized point of authority to some degree, but you're still decentralized in the contributions to the pools. I wouldn't think too much into that, but yeah, I hear you. Tether coming right for us. Yeah. Okay, looks like there's no like bearish news or nothing like that. People are just giving us the latest thoughts. And even in, I don't know if that's Chinese or Japanese. I don't know. Forgive my ignorance. Monitor the ongoing regulatory developments happening between the Genius Act and the Clarity Act. Yes. Who's that? Shout out to Brett. Bitcoin Artisan, what is your ideal future for Bitcoin? Or Bitcoin. Oh, my ideal future. I like that. Oh, that's not too bad. If we're looking at this, let's see. Bitcoin is no longer decentralized. Is that the new narrative? Is that what people are saying now? I don't know. It's of course it's no longer decentralized. It's very centralized. We have institutions coming in, right? But the mining systems I think are pretty decentralized still, right? Stack Bitcoin, nothing. Okay, so this is not a waste of time, but I was looking to see if there's any kind of negative news associated with this price action. Anyways, my friends, looking at this on a daily time frame, I am expecting a bounce here. The MACD on a daily time frame, we are at this area that we bounced before. We've had higher lows each time, so maybe we find that here. The stochastics, we're right here at the oversold zone. Typically, the blue line doesn't really get too much lower than this here, so we're a little bit lower now. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the day we came back up. We had a nice wick to the downside, and then tomorrow we start to run higher. Okay, starting off the week, I can't stress how bullish it is actually to start the week off on a bearish note, because then when we come back and we only have 5 days, 6 hours left, we've got like the whole damn week left. When we come back, just like last week, whenever we opened up the week moving to the upside here and we closed it on a negative note, if we open up the week on the downside and we close it on a positive note, we got that wick coming in. That'll be a very bullish implication to the upside, okay? But I don't know if we're breaking out to new all-time highs this week, you guys, at this rate. I wouldn't be surprised if we did. I don't know if it's going to be until next week. I mean, this consolidation phase really might last even into September. We might not get that end-of-month rally, but I'm still holding out for that, still hopeful that we will see new all-time highs by the end of the month of August. It's the 19th now. We'll see how it goes. I got nothing else for you. I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Again, the low is in. I'm sticking with it. I am sticking with it until proven otherwise, right? And we're not that far away from proving me wrong. All you got to do, Bears, is just go below that right there. You're at 113.3K. Just drop $300. That's it. And you'll prove me wrong, right? And maybe if this isn't the low, watch we go like a little bit lower and then we come up. But I don't think that we're going to go too much lower, if at all. I think that's the low there. Calling for it. End of discussion. Take care. Bye-bye. See you on the next one.